Hey y'all, it's Kim. So this is chapter 10 of the Robert Hur Classified Documents case or report against Joe Biden. And this is, like I said, chapter 10. Anyway, so it's historical background. Now, one thing I will say, this one has a ton of footnotes. I'll just put the document in the description if you want to read them. I don't want to go through all of that. That's too much reading as far as that because it's already going to take a while to get through just the actual reading of it. The footnotes you can explore on your own. But anyway, it says historically, former presidents and vice presidents treated all records as personal property. For most of our nation's history, presidents and vice presidents treated all records from their or respective administrations, including records relating to issues of national security, as personal property that they took with them upon leaving office. A congressionally commissioned study found in 1977 that when leaving office, past presidents routinely took national security files, including briefing materials for the president, records of negotiations with foreign governments, correspondence with foreign heads of state or governments, and correspondence with or directives to agencies with the executive branch on foreign affairs. The practice of outgoing presidents and vice presidents retaining their records was reconsidered in the 1970s, culminating in the passage of the Presidential Records Act in 1978. The act provides that all presidential records, documents created or received by the president or his staff to assist or advise him in carrying out his office duties belong to the government. In contrast, personal records remain the property of the former office holder. The Act defines personal records to mean all documentary materials or any reasonably segregable, I've never seen that word, a portion thereof of a purely private or non-public character which do not relate to or have an effect upon the carrying out of the constitutional, statutory, or other official or ceremonial duties of the president. Such personal records include diaries, journals, or other personal notes serving as the functional equivalent of a diary or journal, which are not prepared or utilized for or circulated or communicated in the course of transacting government business. While the Presidential Records Act marked a turning point in the treatment of presidential materials, as discussed in Chapter 9, the Act does not exempt former presidents and vice presidents from specific prohibitions on removing, retaining, losing, or disclosing classified and national defense information. After the act's passage, at least one former president, President Reagan, left office with his presidential diaries, which contained classified information, and stored those diaries at his private home. The Department of Justice, the National Archives, and others knew that President Reagan treated his diaries containing classified information as personal property, but no agency took action to recover the classified materials or to investigate or prosecute the former president. The Reagan Diaries. The first president subject to the Presidential Records Act, Mr. Reagan, kept a diary in which he wrote an entry nearly each day while he served as president. His diaries contained information that was classified up to top secret, sensitive, compartmented information level and remained so until 2007 or later. Years after Mr. Reagan died, Mr. Reagan took all 5 volumes of his diaries home with him when he left office, and at that time, it was known to the Department of Justice, the Iran-Contra Independent Council, and the National Archives that Mr. Reagan's diaries contained top secret classified information, and Mr. Reagan treated his diaries as personal property that was not in the National Archives' possession. That's a lot of footnotes. The Department of Justice also repeatedly described the diaries in public court filings as Mr. Reagan's personal records. Mr. Reagan's personal possession of his diaries and the fact that portions of his diaries were classified up to the top secret level was also known. to the Congress and the federal courts. In the wake of the Iran-Contra affair, Mr. Reagan produced relevant excerpts from his diaries to various investigative bodies, including congressional committees and the Independent Counsel. During the Independent Counsel's prosecution of former National Security Advisor John Poindexter sought Mr. Reagan's diaries entries for purposes of his criminal defense, and numerous public filings and judicial opinions in 1989 and 1990. After Mr. Reagan left office, the Department of Justice and the U.S. District Court both acknowledged that Mr. Reagan's diaries contained information that was classified, including top secret information about sensitive matters. While this litigation was ongoing, Mr. Reagan was a private citizen living in California, where he kept his diaries at his private home, apparently outside of facilities that were authorized to store top secret information. According to the editor of the published versions of Mr. Reagan's diaries, for several years after their return to California, the Reagans would often sit together in their den after dinner, reading aloud from their diaries and reminiscing about their White House years. While it is unlikely that after leaving office, Mr. Reagan's den was approved for the storage of top secret, sensitive, compartmented information, Mr. Reagan retained Secret Service protection at his home for the remainder of his life. Mr. Reagan maintained the ability to receive and handle classified information after leaving the White House, as he continued to receive national security briefings at his office space located a few miles from his home, and he consulted with President George H.W. Bush about foreign affairs. Notably, Secret Service agents collected daily intelligence briefing materials after Mr. Reagan had finished with them and ensured that they were properly destroyed. The wider American public also knew of the existence of Mr. Reagan's diaries. Indeed, the diaries served as sources for at least 3 publications that Mr. Reagan or his representatives authorized: In American Life, Mr. Reagan's autobiography, published in 1990, Dutch biography authored by Edmund Morris and published in 1999, and the Reagan Diaries, a collection of the diaries themselves, first published in 2007 after Mr. Reagan's death. Notably, In American Life was being written during the Poindexter litigation and includes dozens of verbatim quotations from Mr. Reagan's diaries. And even as early as 1989, the classified nature of Mr. Reagan's diaries was discernible to any member of the public who read filings and opinions from the Poindexter litigation. Let's see. Mr. Reagan died in 2004. In 2005, Nancy Reagan provided his diaries to the Reagan Library, which is run by the National Archives, so that the diaries could be publicly displayed as part of the collection of Mr. Reagan's personal papers. At that time, the archives worked with officials at the National Security Council to identify several pages of material that were still classified up to the top secret, sensitive, compartmented information level. Archives officials removed all pages containing classified information from the diaries so that they could be publicly displayed. Meanwhile, a historian reviewed the unclassified portions of Mr. Reagan's diaries and compiled a collection of them for publication in 2007. The Reagan Diaries was a bestseller. A New York Times article from May 2007 remarked that readers can get a retroactive sense of being in on some classified information. Today, anyone can view online the full set of Mr. Reagan's presidential diaries, excluding a small number of excerpts that were redacted for personal reasons or national security concerns. There is no indication that Mr. Reagan acted with any ill intent, attempted to secret away his diaries, or hid their existence or content from appropriate authorities. Quite the opposite. He disclosed the existence of his diaries to several investigative bodies during the Iran-Contra investigations and during the Poindexter litigation. Mr. Reagan's personal attorneys and the Department of Justice repeatedly asserted that the diaries were Mr. Reagan's personal property, but it was apparent his diaries contained classified information. Indeed, some diary entries specifically described information recorded there as very hush hush or top secret. Some entries were obviously classified at the time he wrote them. Some continued to be classified until at least 2007, and some contain national security information that appears to be sensitive to this day. And like I said, you can go back through here and look at the footnotes if you're so inclined. I didn't feel like reading that part today. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.